Hi, I'm Kirstie Allsopp. And ahead of the new series of Love It or List It, The Independent asked for your questions about moving home. So I'm going to have a look to see what you want to know. I'm hoping to sell my house soon, but don't know whether to do any work to it before doing so. What are the golden rules to fixing up before selling? Number one, if you have any half-done DIY projects, finish them or get someone else to finish them. One of the most off-putting things for buyers is half-done projects. So either start it, finish it, or don't start it. Number two, if you're moving home because you've outgrown your property, it mustn't look like that. So I always say to people, almost move out before you put your property on the market. It's winter now. Have you got any summer clothes, any summer stuff that you're not going to need until the spring? Have you got a friend with a garage? Have you got a garage? Can you declutter your house and get rid of anything that you won't need in the next 6 months? Number three, the first 11 seconds really count. Your front path, the bins, the street outside your home, your front door and your hall. Don't have any shoes in the hall, don't have any coats in the hall. Make sure that what you see when you come in the front door in those first 11 seconds is as light and clutter-free as possible. Get a valuation from 3 different estate agents. Go with the one that you felt was most efficient, not necessarily the highest price. The price should be the median of the 3 valuations. It's a quiet market at the moment. Have a look at what else is on at your price range in your area and see if you can beat it for presentation. If you plan to treat yourself to a new toaster or new kettle, new sheets or towels, do it now because that will give your home a bit of a pep, and that's all stuff you take with you. Good luck. I'm hearing a lot about gazundering. Is it really a thing? Yes, it is a thing. It doesn't happen that often, but it does happen. The number one way to avoid being gazundered, and just for everyone who doesn't know, gazundering is when you accept an offer from someone and then they get to the exchange date and they hit you with a lower offer. And you're all ready to go and you tend to accept that offer because to put it back on the market and remarket it would be very complicated. To avoid gazundering, make sure that before you put your house on the market, you have all your ducks in a row. Have you told your mortgage company you're selling? Have you employed a solicitor and asked him to put together a contract? Have you got all the documentation that's relevant to your property? If you can do as much as possible beforehand, you will be ahead of the game. And then when you accept an offer, you're able to really go for it. People are afraid of doing that because it costs money. But if you're sure you're going to sell, you're going to have to spend that money at some point anyway. It's very important not to exchange and complete on the same day unless it is 100% necessary. One of the reasons that people get gazundered is because they exchange and complete on the same day, so they are doubly vulnerable. If you have exchange and then completion 2 or 3 weeks later, if you haven't put any stuff into packing boxes, unless it's the stuff you're decluttering, or you aren't going to be such a sitting duck in terms of gazundering. When's the best time to try and sell your home? My mother always used to say, put your house on the market when the daffodils come out. It is true that the spring is a good time to sell. It is a good time to sell when the days are longer and lighter and the leaves are on the trees. But that's not always what people can do. So, bear in mind that I wouldn't put a house on the market in mid-December because really the market does die around Christmas and New Year. But come mid-January, you can think about it. The good thing is that if your house looks okay in January, if any house looks okay in January, it's going to look a lot better as the days get longer and the flowers and the leaves come back on the trees. So if you've got a problem with light in your home, don't even think about selling it during, Greenwich Mean Time. You need to sell it during British summertime. Right, this is an interesting question. Which room should we focus on improving to add the most value to our home? I think it is generally accepted that that is bathrooms and kitchens. I think that is partially because people are nervous of plumbing and electrics. So they're prepared to paint things and do up things, maybe even change doors, lay down new floors or carpets, but they're nervous about plumbing and electrics. So if the kitchen and the bathroom are already in really good nick, that is definitely a selling technique. Have there been any love it or list it decisions you've not agreed with, and why? It's not for me not to agree with them, because at the end of the day, it's their home, their life, their money. Have there been some that I've been surprised by? Yes. Have there been some people who I don't think should have ever come on the show because they should just have sold those properties? There are some times when it doesn't matter what you do to a property, you can't change it enough to make it suitable for the needs of the family. But on the flip side, it's remarkable what can be achieved. I've seen over 20 properties now, and I can't seem to find the right one. They've all become a blur, and I don't even know what I should be looking for. Can you help? It may be possible that in the first 3 or 4 properties you saw the right one. That is very surprisingly often the case. But people think that they shouldn't buy the first 1 or 2 that they see, so they think there's something better around the corner. That doesn't happen with relationships. You don't meet a nice guy and think, I'm not going to date him because next week I might meet someone better. And if you do think that, frankly, you deserve what you get. But it happens with property a lot. Go back to the first 3 or 4 things you saw and then make a list of the 20 properties you've seen and grade them, i.e. which was the best of the 20 you'd seen, which was the worst, which was the middle. Try and drill down which were the things that you really wanted. If your geographical location is too large, if your want list is too large, you're going to struggle. Also, be super realistic about budget. Sometimes people go and see things that are a bit more than they can afford just in case, and then they kind of burn themselves and they fixate on that property which they couldn't ever have afforded in the first place. Always remember that viewing something online is not viewing it, but at the same time, do a lot of research online before you do actually go and see something, because if you don't like kids and it's opposite a school, that's a waste of everyone's time. Should I wait to see all these buy-to-let properties hit the market? And do you think there'll be another stamp duty holiday on the horizon? I've never known anyone really make a success of home buying via waiting for something to happen. It is a pretty risky strategy. I think what you need to do is focus on what you want, why you want it, where you want it, when you want it. One of those properties may well be a buy-to-let property that's come on the market. Do what you need to do for yourself and make adult decisions about the property you buy, and think, where am I going to be in 2 years? Where am I going to be in 5 years? What if I'm still in this property in 7 years? Don't try and beat the system. My garden's a mess. Does it matter as I tried to sell? Yes. Any mess matters. Any property looks better if you tidy it up. At the moment, the weather's vile, everything's wet, but surely there's something you can do on a Saturday afternoon. Thank you for watching You Ask the Questions. You can find more episodes on Independent TV.